Hey guys, Craig here from the Prado Help Desk, and today I'm going to be answering 3 of your most asked questions. Question number 1. I'm thinking of going to university to study music. Do you think I should do it? This is a great question, one I've been asked by a lot of people now. However, unfortunately, it's a question that only you can answer yourself, although there are a few things to bear in mind. The first thing is that university is a great place to meet people and network. You'll meet loads of people with similar hobbies, interests, and mindsets as you, as well as you'll all be studying the same thing together, so you can really work well to improve your craft. Especially if you're a musician, you might start a band, and that can be the start of some really impressive creative things. Another side to it is you'll also meet people who aren't necessarily on your course. So if you're studying music, you might meet, for example, film students who might need you to score their films for them. You might also meet other people in different areas of your industry that you didn't know was a thing before. The second thing is that going to university gives you the time to work on your craft that you may not have if you don't go to university. Most people that don't go to university go straight into work, which does take up quite a lot of your time. So if you're really looking to just spend and invest a solid amount of time improving your craft and getting better at what you do, then university might be the right option. The caveat to this is university is quite long. Most courses last between 3 to 4 years, and depending on where you are in your life and the things you're after, this might be slightly too long for you, so it could be a reason not to go. And the third point is that being at university, students are stereotypically poor. If you like the more luxury things in life, then maybe going to university might not be the right decision, because the chance are you won't be able to afford all of those extra things. And number 4, you get to study lots of different areas of the industry that you may not have even known existed before. I know especially on my course, quite a few people started off wanting to be recording engineers, but by the end ended up leaving as acousticians because they found they loved that more. And number 5, there's lots of different ways to learn these days, especially with online courses. Places like YouTube are a massive hub of knowledge, and there are independent people who are selling online courses these days devoted to learning different things. They're often a lot cheaper than going to university, and you get to study them at your own pace. So this may be another option you might want to consider. And point number 6, if you are considering going to university, I strongly recommend you pay close attention to both the location and the course you're thinking of studying, because both factors really do make a difference in your time there. You are going to be spending about 3 years of your life in a place. If you don't like the place, then you're probably going to end up having a really bad experience at university. So to give yourself the best opportunity, I would take a lot of time to research both aspects. Go and visit the location, definitely go to the open days at university, and see, one, what kind of facilities they've got, and whether it feels like the right vibe for you. And the final point is, no matter what decision you make, whether to go to university or not, just make sure it's the right decision for you. Question number 2. I want to be a recording engineer. Do I need to know Pro Tools? The short answer to this is no. There are lots of different DAW options out there these days, and the main thing is just to work out which one you feel the most comfortable using. Fundamentally, each one works exactly the same as the rest. However, there are a few differences in functionality and workflows, and it's just working out which one you feel most comfortable using. As you can see behind me, I am using Pro Tools, but this is the one that I find most comfortable using. I started off using Logic, and I found that was really good for composing, but once I started recording, I really found that the editing workflows within Pro Tools suited me better. So I do most of my composition work in Logic, and most of my mixing and editing in Pro Tools. So another option is possibly to use a hybrid of multiple different options. Another thing to consider is that other DAWs these days are making huge leaps in technology, and Avid is often left behind in this. So if there's certain features you've seen in other DAWs that you're thinking you might like, I'd double check whether a Pro Tools does have this first before you make your final decision. A key point is, if you are a freelancer, you may still want to consider learning Pro Tools, because it did hold this whole prestige of the industry standard, and to a sense this still does exist today. Lots of recording studios still use Pro Tools rigs, and to make it easier for yourself when entering these studios, it might be handy to know how it works. You don't need to worry about installing something else. You know you can just get into the room, get started, and make things happen. The best thing about all of these is that each different piece of software often comes with a free trial. So to work out which one really does suit you best, just download the free trials, get playing around with it, and see which one feels the most comfortable. But the main thing, as I say, is to remember that there is no right or wrong choice in DAW, it's whichever one you feel happiest with. Question number 3. How do I raise up from home studio to paid client? Now, this is probably the question I get asked the most. We're all looking for that first customer and that foot in the door. However, there's a few different options you can take, and each one may not necessarily be the right one for you or your situation, so it's quite a hard one to give a direct answer to. But I will give you a few different approaches that might help. Now, I think the most important thing here is to make sure you have a portfolio ready. If people can't hear what you've done, they're probably not going to hire you. There's a few different ways you can get a portfolio started. If you haven't done any work yourself already, you can definitely put together a mixing portfolio. There's lots of online sites and paid subscription services these days that allow you to either as and when download multi-tracks, or especially with these subscription services, you get a monthly song that you can download. What I recommend you do is download those options, mix them to the best of your ability, put them together in one place, whether that's on SoundCloud or if you have a website set up, you can stick them on your website and use that as a reference when approaching any clients. When looking for that first client, the people I recommend you approach first are your friends and family. They already know who you are, they already trust you, and they're more likely to pay you than someone who doesn't know you yet. You never know who might need work doing. For example, your grandma's choir might need recording, and now you get to be the person to do it. Someone could have dropped out from the orchestra and they need someone to fill in. You possibly could fill that gap for them. Another option I've seen work really well for people is to start off by doing free work. However, this sometimes does come up with problems of people just anticipating you will always do free work. So a good way to avoid this is once you've done that first free project is to send them an invoice with the original amount you would have charged them, but with a discount code at the bottom stating something like first free job. So that way they know that it won't always be free and they can see what your value is to begin with. Another one of the big options that people take is cold outreach. However, you'll find this often doesn't yield the best results. If people don't know who you are and you're coming at them from different angles, they often won't really care. It does work and you can get work from it, you just have to be sensible with your approach. One of the main things to remember is about adding value. Make sure you're letting the customer know what you can do for them rather than what they can do for you. And the final point I'd like to make on this is, don't add stigma to the word home studio. Just because you're working from your home doesn't mean that there's any less value in what you're doing. I know lots of engineers these days that are setting up solely home studios and working from them, rather than going into big commercial buildings. This keeps costs down for the end customer. It means that you can add more value in this respect. You can get more done without charging more. And then if people do want to step up to that next level slightly, you can then offer the option to go in and, for example, record drums in a bigger studio. And today's top tip, guys, is to never stop learning. Okay, cheers for watching, guys, and remember, this is your channel. So if there's anything else you want me to tackle or answer, make sure to drop it in the comments below. And if you liked what you saw, hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.